Okay, so we are going to start putting these pieces together. Right now we've got an assembly um, and a part studio, and we're just going to switch tabs to go over the assembly tab, and an assembly allows us to have different parts. So first off, we're going to insert, there's all the pieces that we've created so far. So we're going to start by inserting the tubing and inserting the mounting block. And you can see as I click them, they appear in the same position that I created them in the part studio. So it's really handy to think about where you create things. So I'm going to click the check mark, and I've now inserted those things. And I'm going to take the tubing, and so I've just clicked on it, and if I right click on it, I can select fix. And what that means is that I can drag things around, but it's not going to change the position of where things are. So what I can do now is that I can look at how things are lined up. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to add another piece of tubing, and I'm going to put it right there. So I'm just going to go insert tubing, and you'll notice I'm moving my mouse around so that way I can set the initial position of it and the green check mark. And that way I can actually, it's not overlapping. So what I'm going to do is I am going to take these tubings, and so this particular one, I'm going to want to rotate it. So when I click on something, I get my little three arrowed device, and this allows me to move things and rotate them. So this part where it's got the curve, I can press that and turn it, and now I get degrees, and I can type in something like 90 degrees, and now I've got it moved. I can also use the arrow so that I can move things in position. Okay, so I've got this moved. What I want to do now is that I'm going to use a fasten mate, and if I zoom in, so as I'm doing things, you can see I'm using my, well, you can't see, I'm using my scroll wheel, and I'm zooming in. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this side and this point right here. So where you position your mouse will determine if you get this green, blue, and red lined mate connector. So there's my mate connector. So, and what I'm going to do is I'm using my right mouse button to just rotate and zooming in, and I'm going to take this face and I'm going to use the mate connector right there, and I'm going to solve it. And then before I solve it, I just want to point out, if you need to reposition things, you can do that. That's why I positioned it, I rotated it in the first place so that everything would fit nicely. And you can see those pieces are now connected. Again, getting to our naming conventions, tube and block connection. It's really hard to keep track of things if you just use default names. So I have my pieces in position. What you really want to think about is how are you securing them. Right now, my block is just sitting there. So I could glue it, not a great choice, or I can use fasteners like bolts, and in our next video, I'll show you how to do that.